My ex-wife told me I couldn't come to our son's wedding. But let's see how much influence she really has once I pull back everything I paid for. Calling her toxic isn't just my opinion, anyone hearing the full story would come to the same conclusion. I'm 46 and have two boys, Ethan who's 25, and Lucas who's 21. Their mother, Monica, cheated on me when they were little. The marriage fell apart, she walked out, and I was left raising both of them on my own. I had to step into every role, father, mother, provider, the whole deal. Monica was never much of a parent, but I worked hard to give my kids the stability she never offered. Recently Ethan got engaged to a young woman named Sophia, also 25. When he told me, I was thrilled for him. I could tell she was a good match, and I wanted him to have the kind of celebration I never got. He and Sophia didn't have much money for the kind of wedding they dreamed of, so I jumped in. I paid for the reception hall Sophia had always imagined, and I covered the flowers, the decorations, even the band for the luncheon. I wanted to give my son and his fiancée the perfect day. But this morning it all collapsed. Ethan called and said that he and Sophia had decided to downsize the wedding. At first, I thought it just meant trimming the guest list, and that was fine, it's their wedding. Then I offered an idea: if they wanted to save money, they could hold the wedding at my place. I've got a big yard, kept up nicely, and it would have made a beautiful backdrop. That's when Ethan told me the truth. He said, "Actually, Mom doesn't feel comfortable with you being there. Maybe you could just sit this one out. You'll have Lucas's wedding as your chance." He said it like it was nothing, like excluding me from his wedding was the easiest decision in the world. No apology. No asking what I thought. Just a flat statement, and then he hung up. I stood there stunned. For most people, maybe it wouldn't sound like a big deal, it's their day, their choice. But you have to understand the context. I've been the one who raised them. I gave up dating, gave up having a life of my own, just to make sure they grew up without missing anything. Every part of my life revolved around my sons. And now, after everything, this is how it plays out. At first, everything between us actually started out well. We met back in college, had the same classes, shared the same group of friends, and life felt simple. But during our senior year, everything changed. She got pregnant. It wasn't planned, and when our families found out, they were terrified. My dad told me it was time to step up, be a man, marry her, and take responsibility. Her parents echoed the same. So, before anyone outside of our families noticed her belly starting to show, we went down to the civil registry and got married in secret. No celebration, no joy, just two scared kids trying to do the right thing. The first years were brutal. She insisted on staying home with the baby, which meant I had to juggle 2 jobs just to keep us afloat. There was no time to wait for a career to build, I needed money immediately. After years of exhausting work, I finally got a promotion and things started looking up for the first time. But that didn't last. Not long after, she got pregnant again, with Lucas. This time it wasn't unexpected, but the weight of responsibility doubled overnight. I thought we could handle it, but I started noticing a change in her. She grew distant, frustrated. I chalked it up to postpartum depression or the stress of raising 2 kids under 3 years old. I told myself she just needed time, so I let things slide. But the anger and tantrums never stopped. When Lucas turned 1, I finally confronted her. I told her if she wanted to go back to school or get a job, I would adjust my work schedule to support her. That's when she dropped the truth like a bomb. She admitted she had been seeing someone else for months. And not just anyone. It was a close friend from college. She told me she couldn't live this life anymore, that the kids and I were holding her back. I didn't beg her to stay. I told her she was free to leave if that's what she wanted. That very night, she packed her bags and walked out, straight into her lover's arms. She didn't even say goodbye to the kids. I'll never forget the next morning, Ethan and Lucas woke up and realized their mother was gone. They searched the house with these innocent, panicked looks on their faces. Lucas was just old enough to feel the loss, and he cried for days, calling for his mom. Ethan was crushed in silence. And before anyone asks, yes, I did a paternity test. Both boys are mine. She later tried to justify herself, saying she was overwhelmed by motherhood, that she felt trapped. That was her excuse. But the truth? She was selfish. Toxic. I can accept she might not have loved me anymore, or maybe she never did. But walking away from your own children? That's something I'll never forgive. She even tried to blame me for being an absent father, as if working 2 jobs to feed my family was neglect. I don't know what kind of fantasy she expected me to live in. In the end, she wanted her freedom, and I was granted full custody. She left the country, and since then, she's barely bothered to reach out to the boys. I raised my boys on my own. My parents helped when they could, and my sister often stepped in whenever one of the kids was sick or when I just couldn't handle it all by myself. I even had to hire a full-time nanny to make sure they had the care and attention they needed. For years, their mother was nothing but a ghost in our lives. She only came back when the boys were already teenagers. Suddenly, she wanted to reconnect, as if she could just walk back into their lives after all that time. I didn't interfere, I let my sons decide for themselves whether or not they wanted her around. Surprisingly, Ethan, who had been the one most shattered by her leaving, was open to giving her another chance. Lucas, on the other hand, wanted nothing to do with her. His anger ran so deep that it even created distance between him and his brother. When Ethan announced he was getting married and that his mother and her husband would be there, Lucas didn't even want to attend. He said he couldn't stand being in the same room with her. Still, Ethan eventually convinced him to be his best man. Out of loyalty to his brother, Lucas accepted. I wasn't happy about her presence either, but I kept my mouth shut. It wasn't my day, it was Ethan's. If he wanted her there, then I wasn't going to make a scene. But what broke me completely was finding out that Ethan chose to exclude me, his father, from the wedding altogether. He chose the very woman who abandoned him, abandoned us all, over the man who sacrificed everything for him. It feels like I've been stabbed in the chest. For years, I worked myself to the bone, gave them a stable life, paid for their education, and even fully financed this wedding. And yet she gets to stand beside him, welcomed as his mother, while I'm cast aside. What has she done for them, really? Other than give birth? Is that all it takes to earn forgiveness? I was heartbroken, furious, suffocating under the weight of it all. The wedding was just days away, and I couldn't stand the thought of continuing to pay for something I wasn't even allowed to attend. So, I made my decision. I called the reception hall, the decorators, the caterers, the band, everything. One by one, I cancelled it all. I lost money on what had already been paid and wasn't refundable, but at least I stopped the rest from going through. That night, I didn't sleep at all. I just lay there, thinking about every sacrifice I had made, every moment I put my children first, and how it had all led to this. By morning, my mind was clear. I wasn't going to keep funding a wedding where I wasn't even welcome. I felt like I had failed as a father, still do, but I couldn't let this betrayal go unchecked. And I told no one. Not Ethan. Not even Lucas, even though I knew how much he hated his mother. I just carried the weight alone, the same way I always had. The wedding day turned into absolute chaos. Since I hadn't told anyone about the cancellations, why would I, if I wasn't even invited? They all arrived at the venue only to discover the reservation was gone. They weren't allowed inside. Not long after, my phone rang. It was Ethan, furious. He didn't ask, he demanded. Can you fix this as quickly as possible? My guests are on their way, and the one thing you had to do, you messed up. I stayed calm. I confirmed what he already knew, yes, the reservation had been cancelled. He almost shouted, I know. I want to know why, and how you can rebook it so we can get married today. They can't do this to us on our wedding day. To be honest, I savored the moment. Then I told him the truth. I was the one who cancelled it. All of it. There was silence on the other end. He couldn't process it. Finally, he asked, but why? Because it's your wedding, I replied calmly. You invite whoever you want. But it's not my wedding, so I don't have to pay for it. He tried to reason with me, maybe even plead, but I hung up, just like he had done to me earlier. The only difference was that I actually said goodbye. I have to go. I have other plans. In a rush, Ethan sent out an email to all the guests, announcing that the wedding had been postponed to later that afternoon and that a new location would follow. Lucas called him, asking what had happened. Ethan told him I had cancelled everything, out of spite, because his mother was invited. He left out the part where he had forbidden me from attending. Lucas then called me to confirm, and I told him the whole story. He laughed, congratulated me, not exactly for what I did, but for finally standing up for myself. "Good job," he said. "I'm proud of you. Now get some rest." Meanwhile, Ethan and my ex-wife scrambled to fix the mess. They begged the venue manager to reinstate the reservation, but it was too late. The space had already been handed over for a political event that couldn't be cancelled. They called other venues, but nothing was available on such short notice. They couldn't delay until the next day either, since their honeymoon flights were booked for that very night. Desperate, Ethan messaged me, "Okay, you can be part of the wedding if you manage to get a venue in the next 2 hours." I laughed out loud when I read it. Who did he think he was? I replied, "Not my job. Ask your mother." In the end, the only option left was to hold the ceremony in my ex-wife's garden. Lucas flatly refused to go, saying that if I wasn't welcome, then neither was he. Without us, the guest list shrank quickly. Only a handful of people attended, and the rushed change of location and timing made it a hollow affair. After they returned from their honeymoon, Sophia reached out to Lucas. She was clearly upset. She said she was disappointed in both of us for not coming, that she thought as Ethan's family we would be there no matter what. She mentioned how hurt Ethan was by my absence and even called me a bad father. That's when the truth came out. We explained everything. And she was shocked to learn that Ethan had lied to her. He told her I had cancelled the venue out of spite, conveniently leaving out that he had banned me from the wedding in the first place. When she confronted him, she was furious. Ethan tried to brush it off, saying he had been too stressed with the preparations and told her to forget it. She demanded he apologize to me. His answer: "I did nothing wrong. It was my wedding." Ethan insisted, "I can invite and forbid whoever I want." That apparently enraged Sophia. She confessed to Lucas that she didn't realize just how ungrateful Ethan had become. She even admitted her concerns about his growing closeness with Monica, warning that it could be a serious problem in their marriage. On the wedding day itself, when Sophia complained about the venue mess and all the last-minute changes, my ex-wife made things worse. Monica belittled her right in front of people, saying, "This is better than what I got, so you better enjoy it." That comment cut deep. Sophia later told Ethan she was upset by Monica's attitude, but Ethan brushed it off, saying his mother was just stressed. According to Sophia, the only person who truly seemed delighted during the entire wedding was Monica herself. She was glowing, pleased with having forced me out of the event, even if it meant ruining the day for everyone else. Sophia's parents were furious too. Most of their invited guests never showed because of the chaos, and they felt humiliated. Of course, Ethan and Monica shifted the blame to me, painting me as the bitter old man who ruined everything. But honestly, I don't care. Not one bit. Because Sophia has been telling the truth. And once the truth spreads, we'll see how long Ethan and Monica's little narrative survives. 2 weeks later, the madness continued. Out of nowhere, Sophia showed up at my door. No text, no call, just appeared, looking sad and exhausted. She didn't have the same glow she once had before the wedding. I invited her in, and she opened up. She apologized to me, saying that if she had known what Monica was plotting behind the scenes, she would have acted differently, maybe even disinvited her. She admitted that she now saw how unfair Ethan had been to me. When she confronted him about it, Ethan's defense was pathetic. He claimed he only wanted to make his mother feel included, since she had been sidelined for years. He said this was her only chance to be in the spotlight. Sophia wasn't convinced. She believed Monica had manipulated him into seeing me as the villain, poisoning him with the same lies she once told to justify abandoning us. And now, only 2 weeks into marriage, Monica's influence was already corroding their relationship. According to Sophia, Monica had started giving Ethan advice on how to be a real man, a version that meant acting like a controlling husband. Ethan had become critical, suspicious, and involved his mother in every decision, big or small. Sophia said she felt suffocated by Monica's constant presence in their lives. Things got so unbearable that she packed her bags and moved back in with her parents, just 2 weeks after the wedding. She came to me, hoping I could talk some sense into Ethan. I pitied her, but I had to be honest. I told her, "I'm sorry, but I can't get involved. If I step into this, Monica will twist it even further and make it about our old fights. Your marriage will just become collateral damage. You need to show Ethan the truth yourself, about who his mother really is. Or better yet, ask Monica to stay out of your life. If Ethan loves you, he'll do the right thing. And if not, maybe I'm fighting a losing battle." Sophia was upset, but she didn't push me to interfere. But if you think that was the end, you're mistaken. Things got worse. Out of nowhere, I received an email from Greg, yes, my ex-wife's old lover, the man who helped destroy my marriage and my family. We had been friends once, not best friends, but close enough. He had every reason to stay out of my life, but instead he wrote to apologize. According to him, he had no idea Monica was still so bitter toward me and had gone so far as to exclude me from my own son's wedding. He admitted that she had spread lies, claiming I was a terrible father who ruined Ethan's big day. But Greg said he had already exposed the truth to people around her. Meanwhile, Ethan and Sophia's marriage was crumbling. After Sophia exposed Monica's manipulations, Ethan turned on her, demanding she apologize to his mother. Sophia refused and accused Monica directly of malice. That's when she moved out, and Ethan never even tried to bring her back. Monica encouraged him to stand firm and told him Sophia would crawl back eventually. Greg, however, overheard Monica's real scheme. She was pushing Ethan toward divorce, spinning lies that I had poisoned the boys against her, that all of this was somehow my influence. I couldn't help but think, if she says I lied, then what's the truth? Where was she when our children grew up without her? How did they end up in my custody? Her revisionist history is absurd. And yet, instead of focusing on her own failures, she obsesses over me, still, after all these years. The anger I feel isn't only because she abandoned us, but because she turned my own son against me. She's ruining his life too. And Sophia, poor Sophia, is just another casualty of Monica's manipulations. Watching her suffer because of all this has been painful. But what can I do? If Ethan refuses to see the truth, if he's blinded by his mother's grip, then nothing I say will matter. So I chose to step back. I won't let Monica rob me of my peace. She wants me consumed with anger, but I refuse to give her that satisfaction. Let her face the consequences of her madness. And I think I know why she's so fixated on me now. After years of living alone, I finally started dating again. At first, I kept it quiet, but eventually I made it official. My girlfriend is 35, kind, grounded, and has been with me for over a year. Monica found out, and immediately started mocking it as humiliating, disgusting, pathetic. But anyone who hears her ranting knows the truth, she's jealous. She can't stand that I've moved on, that I'm happy, that I'm no longer defined by her betrayal. Sophia told me herself, Monica talks about me and my girlfriend constantly, more than she should, almost obsessively. Imagine that, the woman who abandoned me decades ago still can't stop orbiting my life. And now, the final update. It's been 1 year. Instead of celebrating their anniversary, Ethan and Sophia are in the middle of a divorce. Monica never let go. She poisoned him against me, against Sophia, and even against Lucas. She isolated him completely, feeding him lies about me being an absent husband, about her being the real victim. Ethan swallowed it whole. Sophia tried to fight for their marriage, but Monica wouldn't leave them alone. She showed up at Ethan's workplace, had lunch with him, accompanied him home, even inserted herself into their dinners with takeout, as though she lived with them. Ethan brushed it off, he said it was just a few hours a week. But Sophia knew better. She knew their private life had been compromised, that she was competing with his mother for space in her own marriage. She tried to endure it. She tried to reason. But eventually she broke. She couldn't live her life feeling invisible, treated like a second option, while her husband chased validation from the very woman who once abandoned him. In the end, Lucas tried to talk sense into his brother, but Ethan lashed out, calling him a mother hater and accusing him of falling under my influence. And that's where things stand. One son gone, swallowed by Monica's poison. One son who still sees clearly. And me, still standing, still refusing to let her win. Ethan turned the blame on me. He said I was the reason Monica left, that I ruined their childhood. Those words cut deep. I raised him as best I could, sacrificed everything, and yet he believes I failed him. Maybe I did fail in some way, but I know I did more than most fathers in my position would have done. Still, it wasn't enough for him. Meanwhile, Monica's house of cards collapsed. Greg finally left her. He said she had become too toxic, too consumed with trying to smother Ethan with the love and attention she had denied him as a child. She didn't realize he wasn't a child anymore, and no amount of obsessive mothering could undo her past failures. She's a failed mother, a failed wife, a failed lover, and nothing she does now will change that. As for me, I'm moving forward. I'm not rushing anything with my girlfriend, but she's recently moved in with me and life feels lighter. We're taking small steps, enjoying each other's company. Lucas has met her a couple of times and didn't raise any concerns. The boys are adults now, they have no reason to resent the fact that I've found happiness. Monica? She's just a ghost from the past. Someone once commented that Monica destroyed 3 marriages, 2 of them her own. Now I think they might have been right. My marriage ended years ago. Greg's is over. Ethan's marriage with Sophia has also fallen apart. In the end, she couldn't keep her poison from seeping into everything around her. And while it broke Ethan's life, I feel relief for Sophia. She deserves better than the endless chaos that comes with being tied to someone under Monica's shadow. Even Greg, for all the damage he caused me, didn't deserve the storm that Monica brought into his life. But he made his choices, and I can't say I pity him. There's one thing that made me respect Sophia even more. After the wedding fiasco, she offered to repay me for the money I lost on the venue and services. I told her the truth, it wasn't her fault. It was my son's decisions that ruined everything. That gesture, though, said everything about the kind of person she is. The kind of wife I had hoped my son would cherish. Ethan threw it away. He chose his mother over a woman who was nothing like her, someone worth standing by. Ironically, Monica eventually turned on Ethan too. She blamed him for destroying her relationship with Greg and began to distance herself. The irony would be laughable if it weren't so tragic. Recently, Ethan reached out. He said he wanted to clear the air, have a heart-to-heart with me. But I told myself the truth, I did my job as a father. I sacrificed, I struggled, I provided. Maybe I wasn't perfect, but I was there when no one else was. And now he's an adult. It isn't my responsibility to raise him anymore, and it isn't my responsibility to fix him. When Ethan tried to rope Lucas into persuading me, Lucas refused. He told his brother he respected my decision. Ethan lashed out, calling him the golden child and the favorite. The irony made me laugh. I paid for both their college educations, I financed Ethan's wedding, and I've stood by them both in ways Monica never did. If Lucas truly were my favorite, all that money and effort would have gone to him alone. But deep down, I don't think even Ethan believes his own words. They're just another excuse, another way to avoid looking at the real problem.